Hey, welcome everyone to Illinois' Freedom Caucus Tuesday night roundtable. We're joined with a great group of freedom-loving, humble public servants from around the state of Illinois. And we have Leader Chairman Chris Miller, and we have Leader Blaine Wilhauer, and we have Leader Dan Calkins, along with our State Director Colin Mosley. Welcome, gentlemen. Hopefully we've got a good program to discuss tonight, and welcome to the program.
Great to be here. Lots of good things.
Well, we have a lot to talk about. I know that, we're back in the puzzle palace and the bad idea factory, however you want to frame that. So the good news is that most of the really bad stuff comes in the lame duck session. So you can expect a lot of points of personal privilege and a lot of yada, yada, yada during this time.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll probably talk about lame duck as it gets closer, which lame duck is scheduled to start about January the 2nd. And so anyhow, as people start to get home from their Christmas vacations and Happy New Year's, and then we're going to go right into lame duck, which will be the most dangerous time of the year to be an Illinois citizen. Anyhow, hey guys, let's get right into our slides, and then maybe we'll go to some closing comments at the end. And so with that, see if I can make the magic of the technology work, and look at that. Amazing. So tonight we're going to talk about J.B. Pritzker's $3 billion budget deficit, or I like to refer to it as his budget problem. And then we're going to talk about Governor Pritzker and his war on the Border Patrol. And so with that, gentlemen, let's bring up the first slide. Pritzker versus Border Patrol and ICE. I'm just going to throw it open there and let you guys kind of explore what's happening in D.C. with picks for the future Trump administration and how they plan to deal with this, and what the governor is saying about how he plans to deal with the new Trump administration and the border.
My money's on Tom Homan in this fight. I don't think JB knows what he's biting off here, and I think that it's really cute that JB Pritzker thinks that local law enforcement cares what he thinks. Right?
Yeah. Obviously, Governor Pritzker did not come to the Sangamon County Lincoln Day dinner or the McLean County Lincoln Day dinner, where the featured speaker. Tom knows about Illinois. He knows about the problems we have. I think he has a very, very good understanding of our governor and his bluster. And if JB wants to keep this up, I'm like you, Blaine. My money's on Tom.
They do. I think it's a real snapshot of how out of touch Governor Pritzker is with the citizens of Illinois as well as the citizens around the country. President Trump had an overwhelming victory, and one of the centerpieces of his campaign was to get him out of here, get the illegals gone, and Tom Homan's the perfect fit to make this happen.
Yeah, is there hardly a state in the union that's a bigger and more prevalent deal than right here in Illinois? How many billions of dollars are we spending, to prop up this political narrative that we are a sanctuary state? Meanwhile, we pay the highest taxes in the country. We got we got some of the worst roads, and our education system is completely in the gutter. But hey, if you want to get a hug for your abortion, then JB's arms are open wide.
Sure.
If you want to talk about pronouns or abortion or any of this other stuff, then JB is there for you. But if you want to do things that actually help the citizens of the state, especially the citizens that he says that he cares about the most, the ones being affected by this the most up in the city of Chicago, and you're SOL with this governor.
Well, that's absolutely right. And I mean, immigration laws, sanctuary state laws are illegal and unconstitutional anyway. We are usurping federal law by what's happening here in Illinois. I cannot wait for Donald Trump to come in and crack down on this and, force this governor to start defending taxpayers instead of defending illegals.
Yeah, this isn't Texas or Florida where we've got booming economies, that we've got a better government where we can survive in the face of a federal onslaught. The first time that Donald Trump or the U.S. Congress withholds a penny of money, these Democrats are going to be on their knees crying because they put us in such a situation here.
That's right. Gentlemen, anything else on this issue before we move to the next issue? Right? Seeing none. Governor Pritzker's budget problem. We're living underneath a record spending, record borrowing, record taxing situation in this current fiscal year. The Office of Management budget, his own Office of Management and Budget, has put this 5-year forecast out that estimates a $23 billion shortfall over the next 5 years. Most nearer the next fiscal year, it's going to be 3.2 billion, and that may be more than that. It may be less than that, depending on where the revenues and expenses come in. And so, where are they going to go? Where are they going to find another $3+ billion to balance this budget? Gentlemen, this is quite concerning. The state of Illinois has been on this sugar high for the last few years. What's your thoughts about Governor Pritzker's budget problem?
Well, this isn't really earth-shattering news that we're looking at a $23 billion deficit. I know that his budget yearly has been pixie dust and unicorns floating around the Capitol, and this is living proof that a piece of paper will hold still for anything. And we've known all along that J.B. Pritzker has been lying about his balanced budget, and it's all a shell game, moving stuff around, create the illusion that everything is okay. Exactly. Thank you, Blaine, for bringing that up. They are lying to you, and they have been lying. But the chickens are coming home to roost, and we're going to see that the emperor has no clothes, and so it'll be interesting to see how they try to spin this, pivot, and get out of the reality that Illinois is an economic disaster because of J.B. Pritzker's and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's bad public policy.
Yep. The thing that sticks out to me the most on this is the Wire Points article here on the right side, where it basically says, what I gleaned from this is that the House Speaker is acknowledging this and admitting it. For the past several years, it's been Republicans and, non-incredibly biased media that have been calling this stuff out, saying, hey, this deficit's coming. We are in the hole. We're overspending. We're finding fake money, and now we have a situation where mainstream media is reporting on this. And so even the House Speaker has said, hey, the governor and I are going to get together and discuss this deficit. They're not leaving anything up for, speculation anymore. It's real. It's real. If the Democrats admit it's real, it's even more real. So it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate this coming spring session and where they go looking for that money.
Yeah, they got a lot of tough decisions to make. They think last year was hard, having to cheat and suspend their own rules to pass a budget because they couldn't even agree upon anything within themselves. This is the first year in, at least in K through 12 education, which is a big part of our budget, that we don't have any COVID money in there. We've basically been living off of the billions and billions of dollars that were pumped in by the federal government, not to mention the billions of dollars that have been pumped in because the price of everything, the price of survival in this state has gone up so much. You were on the sugar high side of that the last 2 or 3 years, but now we're on the side of it where the economics of it are catching up here. And what you're going to see is I don't hold out a whole lot of hope with this administration and with his national ambitions and everything else that they're really going to right size anything. If we're going to cut the budget in the state, it's going to require major reforms, and those reforms are hard. And the special interests aren't going to like it. So, I don't have a whole lot of hope that that's going to happen. What you're going to see immediately is a lot of pressure on local governments to, figure out ways to tax you more. Because the state government is in such shambles. So that's the biggest thing I'm concerned about. What's going to happen on property taxes on a local level? We've given governments the the right to institute this grocery tax on a local level. We're seeing that kind of stuff coming through, and that's the biggest thing that I think that we got to keep our eyes out for. And you got to make sure that you're vigilant on the ground, that you're fighting back, and you're putting strong leaders in your local organizations.
Well, we know that we've seen this playbook before, and the Democrat playbook never changes. Their solution to any of the problems that they caused themselves, by the way, is to tax more, borrow more, spend more, regulate more. And so we can expect all those things to be implemented here as they try to deal with this and try to spin it to the public that it's really not their fault. But we all know that it is the result of bad public policy and out of control spending.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, we'll see in lame duck if there's any move to position themselves for any of this looming disaster. I think it's mid-February, February the 19th, maybe, is the budget speech from the governor. So we will get, I guess, a much clearer picture of his priorities for the coming year. But then, the way the appropriations process works in both chambers is all parties are invited to the hearings. But as we get into those last few weeks, the negotiations, I guess, break down. The Republicans are not a part of the discussions. It'll be interesting to see whether the Republicans continue to be invited to stay in on these discussions, since hard decisions are going to have to be made. I'm just curious if anybody has any thoughts about that.
Republicans definitely need to be more of a part of it. Republicans need to have a few more solutions on some of this stuff too, because like I said, you're not going to just go in there and knife billions of dollars out of the budget without big structural reforms. And Republicans they've got to get the intestinal fortitude to have those fights. Because I think we're on the winning side of that, especially as we come into these times where it's really hitting people in their pocketbooks, and they're going to see a stark contrast on the national level, with the way things are working there. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they try to parlay that here in the state of Illinois. But I think that I see $3 billion there. I bet we're spending every bit of that on free health care for illegal immigrants right now. That might be a good place to start, huh?
Well, it is taking a lion's share of money, without a doubt. I mean, we know that there's at least $1 billion that you can point to real easy that's going to illegal alien care, and that's just the stuff that you can see real easy. Plus all the stuff that's block granted here, there, and yonder that ultimately ends up in that situation. So
they're not budgeting a penny for the illegal immigrants in K through 12 education, but we know that there's millions of them that they are paying to educate. So I think that it'd be pretty easy to see that. So I guess in Tom Homan we trust here. Maybe he'll fix all of our problems.
Yeah. Well, I think his comment the other day was game on, so it'll be interesting to see just how that goes. And and the other thing I think we need to be talking about, gentlemen, because they're probably going to want to call the Republicans cold and heartless and cruel, but we understand that there is a compassionate side to government, but there's also there's a common sense side to government. And when you get either one of those out of whack, problems happen. And I think there's an argument to be made that in Illinois, the compassionate side has probably grown way more than the common sense side.
Yeah. What about compassion for our own citizens?
Right.
The people that were elected to serve.
Right. Yeah. Gentlemen, unless you have anything else, let's go to our closing slide. And I think what I'll do is I'll bring State Director Mosley in to kind of talk about how to find us and what's going on there. And then maybe we'll just go around with a closing comment. Let's go after Colin speaks about this slide, we'll go to Dan Calkins and then Blaine Wilhauer and Chris Miller to close us out. How does that sound? Colin, the floor is yours.
Well, this is where you find us. This is where you find truth, logic, and common sense. Our website, our Substack. This is where you keep up with us, what's going on here in Springfield and outside of Springfield and Illinois politics. You're looking for a conservative message from Springfield, right here's where you find it.
Excellent. And with that, we'll go to Dan Calkins.
I don't know. It looks like my picture's frozen. Looking forward to this week. I think the Democrats are working on a budget. At least the governor's office has to be. And I think there's a lot of panic and fear going on here in Illinois, just like there is in DC. We'll see what this week brings. We got a couple of more days of maybe doing nothing like we have been for the last 4 days. And then look for us tomorrow. I think, Colin, you've arranged for us to have a press conference tomorrow. So hopefully look for us on the newscast Wednesday night.
Exactly. And Leader Wilhauer, closing thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think that President Trump has given us a good playbook. You know, you run boldly on issues that people actually care about, and people will respond. And I think there's lessons to be learned for that, even in I would say especially in a state like Illinois. So, you know, the Freedom Caucus is going to continue to do their thing, continue to push our message, continue to hold politicians in both parties, which are completely broken, accountable, and you know, the people are responding. So we appreciate being able to serve you.
Yeah, excellent. Great points, and thanks for joining us. With a closing comment, Leader Chairman Chris Miller.
So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening. Thank you for all my colleagues for their contribution to this conversation this evening. I think that, as like Colin said, this is your home for truth, logic, and common sense, and we will continue to peel back the layers of the onion to expose the corruption that's in our state government and expose J.B. Pritzker and his failed policies. And just as a side note, too, as we are beginning to move into the Thanksgiving holiday season, I would encourage you all to be thankful for the opportunity and the privilege that we enjoy in serving you. And please don't hesitate to call, write, or come and visit at any time. And anything that we can do to help move the conservative message forward and actually come up with common sense solutions to fix our state government, we are all ears. So anyway, God bless you and have a great evening.
Thank you, gentlemen, for those closing comments, and thank you all for joining us tonight. And always, I want to make the appeal to everybody that's viewing us tonight or wherever that you continue to like, share, subscribe, and follow our content to help push out this conservative message, this truth, logic, and common sense that is so lacking in Springfield and is needed dearly to bring things back to normal back in Illinois, if we could ever do that. And so with that, I'm going to hit the outro, and we'll say goodnight, and we'll talk to you real soon, everyone.